So here's episode 5 of New Games for Old Systems. And I've dug up a system that many people may not have heard of before, but it has a special place in my heart. The Mattel Intellivision. The Intellivision came out in 1979 and is the first 16-bit console, using a General Instrument CP1600 CPU running at 1.79 MHz. It was envisioned as a competitor to the Atari 2600, and it is technically superior, with better sound, graphics, and even more RAM. However, Mattel kind of shot themselves in the foot by designing a less than stellar controller. My dad was an early adopter for the Intellivision, and I had one of these in my house ever since I could remember. So to me, the controller feels fine, although other people may say it looks like a phone, or that it's really uncomfortable, especially the side buttons. This is the original Intellivision I had as a kid. It still works, but it overheats after a minute or two, so today's games I'll be playing through an emulator. And yes, I did say games, because I'm going to be playing mini-games today, because they were all submissions to the IntyBasic Programming Contest for 2018. IntyBasic is a basic interpreter developed by NanoChess, or Oscar Toledo, G, made to be able to make programming for the Intellivision easier. There were 12 entries for the contest, but I'm only going to look at the top 5. First off, we have Boot Hill by Leo Brophy. You're greeted to a colorful intro with music. Then you get to play as either one or two-player game. It has a lot of different options here. As a one-player game, you play against an AI which is less than intelligent, but it's kind of fun because you go around and you shoot. You can shoot up, down, or straight across based on the button you press. It also has a zombie mode because you have to have a zombie mode. And then at the end, for some reason, when it goes back to the title screen, it plays In the Hall of the Mountain King. It's a pretty fun game. Next up, we have MazezaM. MazezaM? I don't know. MazezaM SOS by Aaron Williams, based on another game by Malcolm Tyrell. What do I say about this game? It's a puzzle game where you play as Hannah, and you have to save 5 kids that are trapped in the maze. Basically, you push rows of blocks, and then you try to get through to the next staircase in order to save the kids. So I'm terrible at these games, and I played this one level over and over and over again, and I just couldn't beat it. But I'm sure if you put enough time into it, you could beat it. But the idea is, the less moves you make, the more stars you get. The more stars you get, then you can unlock the kids and free them. And then once you unlock one kid, then you can go on to the next set of levels and collect more stars. So there's no way to save your game because this is an Intellivision and there's no hard drive or anything on it. But it has a password system that you can use to pick up where you left off. Give enough time, I think you could play through this game and beat it and have a challenging, fun time. The Crimson Tower, programmed by Emerson, is also a very impressive entry into this contest. You can tell that a lot of care and effort was put into the intro sequence. From the description of the game, it says, "Explore the hallways of the Crimson Tower to recover magical instruments and return them to their musical masters. Be sure to bring a map. Each time you play, the tower changes." Now, I will say this game has a lot of promise. However, in its current state, it could be best to be described as a walking simulator. It's just not finished. You wander around some very similar looking dungeons and look for keys and chests. I even found a chest once, but there was nothing in it, so I couldn't pick anything up or interact with it at all. So basically I just wandered around and got lost. It kind of reminds me of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, The Treasure of Tamarin. It has a lot of potential, but it still needs some work. I would say if you put some more effort into this, you're good to go. Upmonsters, programmed by Chris Reed, is also a fantastic game. Your job is to help the aliens from the planet Up find their way back up to their ship, hovering high above the Sahara Desert. Hop to it. This has some great music from the start in the title screen, and then from there you just jump your way to success. You have to kind of chain clouds together, and you bounce up the clouds and try to get as high as you can, and then be beamed to your ship. Now, one thing you have to do is you have to avoid the birds, because we all know birds are jerks, and they'll come and try to attack you. However, they do chirp before they attack, so you can know about them coming, and you can be aware of them and stop or kind of avoid them. So it doesn't cheat you there. This kind of plays like your typical smartphone game. You just kind of pick up and kind of waste time with it. There's not a whole lot of depth to it, but gameplay is smooth and very playable, and if I had this as a kid, I probably would have put hours and hours into this game. Now, the best game by far from this whole group is a game called Deep Zone, and it was made by Artrag. This is a shooter inspired by Digress. Now, right at the beginning, it plays some pretty amazing music. So I'll just hear that for a minute. Now, I love that music. It's really good. I could just listen to that by itself. Now, they said this was inspired by Digress, and I can totally see that. It plays very similar to Digress on the NES or something like that. It also kind of reminds me of Tempest, where you kind of go around a circle and in the center of the screen and shoot stuff in the middle. There's some pretty cool power-ups you can pick up and lots of enemies to destroy. There's the bombs. You can drop a bomb on the enemies if you ever need to destroy a lot of them. And the best part about this game is it plays so smoothly and so good, and the graphics are even good, the sound effects are good, top-notch overall. It's a very polished game, and it even has bosses, even though I couldn't get to them because I'm not very good. But I would have played this for hours and hours as a kid, and I would have been no longer jealous of my friends' Nintendos. This is a fantastic game. Anyway, hope you like these games. If you did, go down to, there's a link in the description, click on it, play some of the games, download them, play them yourself at home. They're pretty good. Hey, Angus, what did you think of that review? If you like that video, leave a comment down below, hit that like and subscribe button, and see you next time.